and welcome to Subjective Thoughts. And our comic for today is Space Pirate Captain Harlock, Issue 3 by a Blaze. Now there is some shooting, danger, bit of attacking, and weird alien stuff in this one. So if you are in any way squeamish, you have been warned. Also, spoilers. Alright, here's the team. So, when we left off in issue 2, Captain Harlock and his crew escaped from the Amazon forest, and we saw in the last page Talika, the Iceman Mel, and Professor Eimer have survived the explosion thing that happened there in the cave. So that was that. Now, in issue 3, we begin back at the Antarctic, where that base, where Professor Eimer and then the other professor, starts with an R, where the Iceman Zone was found and the 2 tablets. We see 2 polar bears approaching the frozen body of Professor... I'm just going to call him Professor R. Professor R. But then a mysterious blonde lady suddenly appears and cracks a whip, scaring away the polar bears. She approaches Professor R and then she has a suitcase kind of device. She puts it down and hopes that it will help bring him back to life. Now, I did think he was dead in issue 1, but looks like no, he's still he's saved. So it works. She unfreezes him. The waves coming out of the device unfreeze him, and he's no longer frozen. She catches him. Her name is Metella something, and she tells him, "Don't worry, Professor, soon they're coming. It won't be long now." And then we see Professor. Then we see Captain Harlock in the Arcadia flying. When it starts, when we just see the polar bears, we see the Arcadia already flying in that direction. So the Arcadia arrives. Harlock's doctor and crew member and then a robot bring Professor R into the ship, while Captain Harlock speaks to this Metella. So Metella is, she's actually from another Leiji Matsumoto series, or manga that he has. I haven't read that one, but I have seen it. I think she's from there, so it looks like she knows Harlock, which is interesting. And they also know, both of them, Queen, or not Queen, but Emeralda, or something. She's also a pirate, and as it turns out, she is the mother of the little girl that Harlock is protecting. So it looks like that's who the mother of the child is. So yeah, they talk, he thanks her, then he asks why did she do this, help. So Professor R has value to her, which is why she went to save him. And now that's it, she's going back now. And she tells him to remember that a man is only valued by how many of his promises he keeps. Or words to that extent. And then he asks her to say hello to the Emeralda, or Emerald. I'm not sure how you're supposed to pronounce her name. And to tell her that her daughter is safe, he's protecting her. And she has a hello from him and Harlock's friend, who's the father. She tells him, don't worry, she knows. She's watching her daughter. So that's it. She goes back to her ship. Harlock goes back to his, and then thinks about things. And then, right. A lot has. Oh yeah, I forgot. She also uses some mind reading device to see the events that occurred. So she sees everything. Okay. Uh huh. Uh huh. Uh huh. Okay. Then we go to Queen Lafarissa at last. She is with her fleet of Mazone. They are flying towards Earth, and she gets a report from one of the Mazone on Earth of what has happened. That they have failed to kill Harlock, but she tells the Queen that his life is not a pressing matter at the moment, and she tells her about the ice the ice age essentially that took over Earth. How so many habitats are freezing, the cold spill that's going all over, and then very soon they're going to have a problem. It doesn't look like a natural phenomenon. And of course, this greatly concerns and appalls Queen Lafarissa, because this is the only place where the Mazon can go after their journey all across. This is the only place where her people can go. So she tells her, all right, end the report, and then she tells another of her Mazon that's with her in the room to keep the course towards Earth. And we see Queen Lafarissa going away to some tree of knowledge and asking about the three cursed sisters. The cursed sisters. So it looks like I was not wrong. I thought that, because in the last issue we saw Mel looking at this holographic photo of three women. So it looks like that those women she knew when they were her sisters. I thought either friends or sisters. But in that holographic photo, they looked human. I don't look anything like, well, Mel looks now anyway, so I wonder what the hell happened. Anyway, she wants to get information from this tree of life. It's like it was a tale, like some sort of myth. Well, looks like it's not. Well, then we move on to Talika and Mel. They're at the Bermuda Triangle or the Bermuda Islands. That's cool. Uh, they're there. That's where Mel's sister is located. So that's the whole deal between Mel and Talika. If Mel helps her get revenge on Queen Lafarissa and all the Mazone by, well, essentially destroying Earth, she'll help her find and release her sisters. So one of her sisters is down below in the abyss of the ocean, but she can't reach her, and Mel can't, because the pressure will destroy her body. So Talika tells her, yes, I will go. You, in the meantime, go to, I think some other woods or something. She tells her to go over there. That's where her second sister is located. Go over there, and on the way, do as she promised to freeze all of the oceans. And not, yeah, oceans, I think she said, and also forests and everything. But Mel protests and say that that will destroy all the flora. But Talika snaps and tells her that she doesn't care. That, do this or I will not help you get your sisters. And Mel has no choice, so she said, fine, I'll do as you say. And then she flies off. But she says to herself that although Talika seems very cold on the outside, she does have some warmth inside of her, some compassion. Because apparently she asked Mel to save Professor Eimer, sorry. Because I did wonder why did Mel save him? So it looks like Talika wanted her to. Interesting. I don't know what they've done with him because he's not with them. I guess maybe they left him somewhere. So that's it. She goes underwater. Mel flies off. Oh, and Mel also wonders, what has happened to her. Yeah, it is interesting what had made Talika this way, and how the hell she knows Queen Lafarissa, considering the time when the Mazon were actually there, and where the hell did she even meet Lafarissa? Huh? Suppose we'll find out as we continue. Alright, she keeps going down, and there's another Mazone ship down below in pyramids. Oh, and actually, Captain Harlock, his crew has been there. I think in the manga, the original mangas, they actually go to those pyramids. I forgot about that. That's pretty neat. They go back. So she sees the pyramids. She has no time, or she doesn't have time to spare to look, so she just I don't know what Talika is, if she's a cyborg or what exactly. But anyway, one of her arms, which by the way, she got it fixed with some nanites that were somewhere on some ship, maybe. I didn't understand exactly. But she fixed it. It's fixed now. She uses it. It turns into a cannon, and she shoots at the pyramid, the biggest, creating a hole. And inside we see the other Mazone, the Shadow Mazone. This is getting confusing, isn't it? Like, okay, the Mazone are like plant-based aliens. So how the hell do we have a Ice Mazone and now a Shadow one? Is this going to the realm of magic? Maybe. Well, she releases her, then she approaches her, the Mazone, whose name is, wait, let me tell you what her name is. Okay, what was her name? What was her name? Eh, come on. What was her name? The smell. Wait. Just a second. Aina. I think Aina. Not sure if that's how you're supposed to pronounce it. Aina. So Aina tells her to go away. Aina has this power to create a veil of despair. Because as Talika approaches her, she gets in the veil, and we see kind of vague memories of Talika as a child. Not anything specific, just her seeing something, being shocked, and then her clutching a little doll and some kind of looks like a plant monster. I'm not certain. It's, again, very vague. But Talika gets released from it quickly, and then tells the Mazone, I need your help. And why should I help you? Since so many years ago, she thinks her sisters are dead, so she tells her, "I just want to die finally." She's been asleep for all these 300 million years. Metallica's like, your sisters are alive, Aina. And she's like, what? And what did you say? And she said, yes, Mel is waiting for us somewhere else. And she's like, oh, Mel, my young sister. And Talika says, well, if you go with me, I'll make you a deal. You help me, and I will take you to your sisters. So Aina agrees. And that's it. They now have a deal. Then we move on to Captain Harlock and his crew. I also forgot so far each one begins with Captain Harlock writing in his ship diary, basically stating the day, the year, talking about things. So I forgot to mention that. It's kind of like a bit of a retelling where he writes, but he talks to his friend whose spirit is in the ship. Well, that kind of thing. Okay. But then we move on. We're on the Arcadia. There's like a bit of free time for everyone. Captain Harlock talks about Professor R, and now he's recovering. He did get a bit of hypothermia, but that's normal. But he will recover. He talks about how because of the device, if ta- Mattel used, it has damaged the slab, so they can't decipher what the second slab says. Because Professor R was frozen with the slab in his arms. So, except a few words, they can't decipher it, so they have to wait for him to wake up to ask him what the slab has said. Besides that, also, Mai, because she got injured in the last one, in the last issue, helping Harlock. She is now uh, like in a big sorry, sirens, in a big not tube. I like this container and some probably healing water. The problem is that their doctor doesn't know how to give her back the life force that she lost. He doesn't know how to do that, so he's kind of stuck, not being able to help her in any way. He doesn't know what to do, and Captain Harlock says, "Well, he has to. There's got to be a way to help her. She must live." And then, because they have this really quiet time, you see everyone having some time to sit down and think about their dear loved ones that aren't with them. We see a memory from Arlock's friend with his daughter when she was young. We see this female crew member, the blonde lady. She's, how I understand, maybe reading a letter from her father. And we see Tadashi sitting in his room playing the harmonica. Next to him is a photo of his mom and dad and him as a kid. So, okay, he had a mom. We see another one of the crew members looking at bells, and looks like he may have a alien wife and daughter, perhaps, based on the pictures. And we see the first mate, Yantere. Yantere was it, right? Playing with his model kits. And we see the crew eating lunch. Basically all happy times. But it's, well, happy. Some nice quiet downtime. But of course, on the Arcadia, it cannot last. There is a signal. Harlock is called to the deck. He gets there. They're getting this signal from the Bermuda Islands. Oh, by the way, in the beginning, they get a signal. Uh, um, fuck, I keep forgetting your name. Metella? Yeah, Metella. She sent a signal specifically to Harlock to come pick up the professor. So here they get the signal about the Amazon and the Bermuda Islands, and Harlock is like, they are there. We must go. So they quickly draw course there and fly. They're like, that's where the Amazon must be. So they get there. They're above the Bermuda Triangle. And Tadashi comments on how many ships, spaceships, and regular ships have went down there. But then they get attacked by human pilots sent by the Prime Minister, who's an incompetent oaf and has nothing better to do except play golf. And he's like ordering them, make sure you get them this time. Now they start shooting, but not gonna really do much. And Harlock's like, no, we're not here to fight our Earth brothers. The Hunter is like, hey, no fun. So they dive underwater, The ship goes down below where the pyramids are, and then Harlock comments how they've been there. And Tadashi's like, "Oh yeah, this is where they found that one Mazode, who, well, her body, I should say." So they look at the hole and everything, and like, okay, we're gonna start to investigate. But then suddenly, seaweeds grab at the ship from all sides. And they're like, "Oh, what is this? What grabbed this?" But it's not really regular seaweeds; it's Mazones, and the ship is stuck. The reason the Amazon started coming back is because they turned on the light to look at the pyramid, and that woke them up. So though Harlock orders them to turn off the light, it's too late. They're now grabbed by the Amazon seaweeds. So they're like, okay, we gotta think of something. But then suddenly, from the doorway, Professor R, being helped by the medic, says that it doesn't matter. Soon, there'll be a much greater danger for us. He tells him. And then really see the veil of despair start to go up and the Amazon dying. And then from behind the pyramid, you see Aina's hand come out. And then she fully comes out behind the pyramid. And then she tells them, 1 second. There we go. Yeah, they'll soon lose all their strength. That's what Professor R tells them. And everything. And then, yeah, the ship is shaking, and then there we go. She tells him you should have never come. And Professor says it's her, Aina, the Shadow Mazone. And she's holding on to the ship, and she, well, from here looks a little like a shark in her lower body. And she says, I'm sorry for you, but you will sink like your ship into my veil of despair. And that's it. That's where issue 3 ends. Okay, so first, the cover. It is fantastic. Harlock looks very cool here. I think I got all the covers that maybe Jeremo, the gentleman here. Because, yeah, I got all of the A covers, I believe. And a Blaze sure love to publish each one with a shit ton of covers. So yeah, good colors on this one. Very cool dramatic pose. Could have used a bit more action, but what are you gonna do? Hey, you see there's the Antarctica, the Aurora Lights. There you see the polar bears. There's our professor. I guess the polar bear was sniffing some lunch. Ah, there she is. The lady in question. Oh, she's also blonde, I forgot to say. Yeah, she's sorry. Lost track. 1 second. Oh, sorry, Dad was asking something. Yeah, there we go. There she is. A very pretty blonde lady. There we go. As always, the art is good. Reminds of the manga, which I very much like. Okay, so the plot thickens then. Things are getting more complicated. Like now we have a shadow zone. And this curse and myth and like what's going on? Who are these 3 cursed sisters and what happened to them? And also, if they've been there 30 million years ago, are they human? Or are they some kind of other species that came with the Mazone? And how is the hell is Talica connected to all of this? I mean, right? Who is Talica? What does she have to do with any of this stuff? And what does it mean for Earth? As Talica certainly doesn't seem to mind sacrificing Earth in order to get revenge. on LaFarissa. What the hell has LaFarissa done to her? How did they even meet? And what's going to happen when the Mazone finally reach Earth and you got these three sisters? How did they are Mazone. What kind of Mazone are they? Because one has the powers of ice, which doesn't make any sense with plants, and the other one has the power of shadows. I mean, Veil of Despair does sound more because it wakes up your like deepest, darkest memories, all the wounds you thought you healed, and it's like, okay, but what does that? Wait, is it magic? Is it chemicals? What does it play on exactly? Because that's starting to sip into kind of a little magic territory. Granted, though, they are aliens, so maybe it's kind of some kind of alien power. To be fair, not really, immediately assume magic. But yeah, it's definitely getting more complicated for them. Now there's two big Mazones to deal with, and plus Talica, and let's not forget the third one that's going to be found. And then what kind of Mazone is she? And why were these three sisters locked on Earth? Yeah, locked on Earth in three different prisons. Assuming Mazone locked them there, but why? And how did they get their powers? So there's so many questions. I can't wait to continue. I'm getting more and more happy I picked this one because it just gets better and better. I can't wait to see what's going on and who's Talica, what does it have to do with anything, and these three Mazones as well. And what's gonna happen with the crew of the Arcadia? I mean, I don't know if they can. I mean, they can face off the Mazones, even the big ones somehow, but still. And in the end, will the sisters help Talica to destroy the other Mazones? I guess that's left to be seen. Alright, folks, so that was issue 3. Let me know what you thought about it. And remember, collect what you're passionate about and share it on YouTube. Bye!